Edward and the Quarry. It was a beautiful autumn day on the island of Sodor. The engines were busier than ever. Thomas was working on his branch line, James was pulling a coal delivery from the coal mines, and Toby was pulling passengers into Knapford Station. Another engine working was Edward. He was an older engine, but that meant he was wise and strong. He was pulling into Elsbridge with the goods train. At the signal, a workman walked up to Edward with an important message. "Edward," said the worker, "the Topham Hatt needs you to grab materials from the quarry and take them to the yards. He said for you to go after you drop off your goods train." Edward was excited. He never gets jobs like this anymore due to the other engines being younger. He puffed away to deliver his goods to Dryoll Station. Edward arrived at Dryoll Station, ready to head straight to the quarry. The station master walked up to Edward once he arrived with terrible news. "Thomas has broken down on his branch line," said the station master. "He needs to get his passengers back to Elsbridge by tea time." Edward felt terrible. He knew that the branch line and the quarry jobs were important. Edward puffed away quickly to Farwar. The entire time he was thinking about which job he had to take. The passengers needed to get home, but the yards need those materials as well. Thomas was in a siding, waiting to be picked up and taken to the steamworks. Edward pulls in, worried about his friend. "Oh, Edward!" exclaimed Thomas. "Thank goodness you're here. I need help." "I have another job to do, Thomas. I don't know how to do both," Edward said sadly. Thomas was sad. "If only you were able to do both efficiently." With those words, an idea flew into Edward's funnel. "Thomas, leave Annie and Clarabelle. I will take your passengers with my train," Edward stated, and he quickly puffs off to the quarry. Edward was puffing quickly. He knew he had to act fast if he wanted to get both jobs done on time. Edward grabbed his trucks full of quarry rock and puffed quickly back to Farwar Station. Edward puffed as quickly as his old wheels could, moving faster than he could have ever thought. Edward coupled up to Annie and Clarabelle. The station master had the passengers hop on before Edward arrived back. He quickly puffed away to drop off everyone at their stations. First, Edward arrived at Hackenbeck, then Maithwaite, puffed by the watermill, and the windmill. Till he finally made it back to Elsbridge Station. Edward then quickly puffed towards the yards. He was exhausted, but he was almost done. Edward finally arrived and dropped off his train. He puffed away happily, ready to rest after a long, hard day. At Knapford Station, Sir Topham Hatt met up with Edward. "Edward!" exclaimed Sir Topham Hatt. "I must say you are a mighty fine engine. You did more work in one day than most of the other engines. I do not care how old you are. You will always have a spot on my railway forever. You are not just really useful. You are the most useful and selfless engine on the island, and I am proud to call you mine." "Thank you, sir," Edward said, blushing. Sir Topham Hatt really made him feel like he was still young and useful.